Thanks everyone for joining our webinar today. My name is Owen Ryan. I'm the Executive Director of the International AIDS Society, and we're really excited to have you online with us now to talk through what's going to be a really historic moment this July in Durban. I'd like to take a moment up front and thank our partners at Discovery Health who have brought us today's webinar, and they're also an important part of our private sector reference group. We're really grateful for their work in South Africa and as part of the AIDS 2016 team. Let me introduce you to a few of the folks you're going to hear from today. In addition to myself, you'll hear from our conference director, Megan Warren, our senior communications manager, Mandy Shagru, and our pre-conferences manager, Neelan DeVore. I'd like to highlight a few key reminders up front in case we lose any of you across the webinar. There's a few things that are really important. Official pre-conferences for the conference are 16 and 17 July, and the main conference program is from the 18th to the 22nd. That's a little different than in years past. It means our opening session is on Monday rather than on Sunday. It's really important people know that, as the conference venue over Saturday and Sunday will look very different. We'll go into that in our webinar. I'd also like to remind folks to book hotels early, that there's limited hotel space inside Durban and in the surrounding communities, so please use our accommodations page to find your hotels. And then similarly, if you need to apply for a visa for South Africa, do that as early as possible. And if you need any help with those things, please feel free to reach out to us for more guidance. There's a number of things we're going to review in today's webinar. In addition to talking about the conference at a glance, we'll talk about a number of new items that are happening in the conference, how we're working to expand access, how the pre-conferences and official conferences come together, and then some key questions and how you can connect to the conference. We'll also leave time at the end for a question and answer, but at any point during our webinar today, you can feel free to enter into your chat window. If you're joining us by phone, we'll leave a moment towards the end to unmute the lines and take any questions from phones. I think a lot of folks who are joining us today know the Durban story really well, but I just want to reiterate how historic this really is. I don't think we've had a moment like this in the last 2 decades where we can look back on a conference, the last time we were in Durban in 2000, and see the immense progress, going from a time of AIDS denialism and a lack of treatment access to a point where we have more than 15 million people on treatment and the world's largest ARV program happening in South Africa itself. At the same time, we all know that there are a lot of gaps to access and gaps in addressing the epidemic, and we really take it as our responsibility as one of 5 permanent partners of the International AIDS Conference to ensure that the conference is really aimed at addressing those gaps to access, equity, and rights. And we've done a lot in our program to start to emphasize that already. So quickly, in terms of what we're expecting in Durban, our AIDS 2016 at a glance, for those who might not be familiar with the big conference, we expect to have over 18,000 delegates, more than 1,000 journalists, the largest scholarship program we've ever had before with nearly 1,000 scholarship recipients, more than 180 countries represented, and more than 1,000 volunteers. So we've got a quick snapshot on the slide that you're seeing right there. We'll also have more than 6,800 square meters of public access. That's free space through the Global Village. It's a unique aspect to our program that is unseen in other conferences elsewhere. And we will also be publishing all abstracts in the Journal of the International AIDS Society. So as I mentioned before, we're one of 5 permanent partners for the AIDS 2016 conference. We're joined by the International Council of AIDS Service Organizations, the Global Network of People Living with HIV, the International Community of Women Living with HIV, and UNAIDS. This is something we don't by any means do alone, and we're really grateful for their support. Our conference is led by our 2 conference co-chairs, Chris Beyer, who's our international co-chair, and Olive Shasana, who's our local co-chair. And then you can see the list of international partners, regional partners, and local partners on the slide in front of you. Okay, let's talk about the exciting stuff, what's new. These are things we're really proud of and have been working on for quite a while. So the first is really trying to make this the most inclusive and representative AIDS conference that we've had before. We've been trying to incorporate a lot of pre-conference meetings that have built up over the years, really quality content that happens in advance of our conferences, to incorporate them more directly into the conference program, and to make sure that in a city as large as Durban that people have easy access to the conference content. So we'll go in the next slide into specifically what some of that means. So we're expanding access by doubling the number of scholarships available for young research, civil society, and people living with HIV. That includes everyone who applies to our scholarship pool online. So in the past, we had approximately 400, 450 people who were on scholarship, and this year we'll have nearly 1,000. We also, as many of you have seen recently, we reduced the registration costs. We understand the burden that the foreign exchange rates were having throughout the world and really thought this was an important step in making sure that people could access the meeting. We've extended the early registration deadline until 28th April, and we're also providing an additional 200 registrations through the Civil Society Access Initiative. So in the next two slides, I want to talk about two specific efforts that we're taking to make sure that people have access to the conference. The first is we're really grateful to announce later this week the start of the International AIDS Society Educational Fund. This is direct support to clinicians and patient advocates throughout the world to access our conference. This means that in addition to the scholarship pool, we'll be able to offer, as the International AIDS Society, scholarships for more than 140 people to come to the conference. It's really something remarkable. We're grateful for our partners who are supporting it. You can read more on our website later this week as part of our public announcement, and I can answer a few questions about it later. The second piece is the Civil Society Access Initiative. This is going to be direct complimentary registrations to more than 200 civil society members from Southern Africa and South Africa specifically. We have a number of partners who are working with us now to finalize shaping that piece, and we hope to have an announcement out later this week about that as well. Both the Civil Society Access Initiative and the IS Educational Fund will open for applications in April, and we'll have more information on AIDS 2016 and on the IS site. I do want to say that in total, what that means is we'll have more than 1,300 people who are sponsored to come to this conference. That is really unheard of before. That's more than 4 times what we did in previous years, and we're really proud of this effort. So I'm going to hand the conversation over to Neelan right now, who's going to walk through some of the specifics of what's new.
Great. Thanks, Owen. Just confirm you can hear me okay. So, one of the more exciting aspects of this year's AIDS conference is the integration of a number of pre-conferences into the main conference program. We did this by dedicating the Saturday and Sunday leading up to the conference with these independently organized pre-conferences. So now delegates will be able to easily access multiple meetings in one venue, the I2C Durban. Additionally, this approach offers a more streamlined registration process that utilizes our established registration system. After the pre-conferences, there will be standard satellite sessions on Monday, July 18th, with the opening ceremony taking place that evening in the ICC Durban. The closing session will conclude AIDS 2016 on Friday evening, July 22nd. Next slide, please. Now I'd like to go over our pre-conference program as it currently stands. Again, this can change, and we may be adding more pre-conferences in the near future. We have 3 two-day pre-conferences, TB 2016, Towards an HIV Cure Symposium, and Living 2016. These 3 meetings will happen on both Saturday and Sunday. For Saturday, we do have currently 2 one-day pre-conferences. One will be Action Plus Access, Rights and Demands of Gay and Bisexual Men in the Global HIV Response, hosted by MSNGF. And then we will also have Nursing HIV 2016, hosted by Committee of DENOSA, ICAP, ANAC, and ICN. For Sunday, we currently have 4 one-day meetings. The International Reference Group on Transgender Women and HIV/AIDS will have their first ever all-day meeting in Durban. We will also have scientific and policy-focused meetings on hepatitis co-infection and the UN Target 90-90-90. Bristol-Myers Squibb Foundation will then have a youth-focused meeting telling their stories about being positive. Next slide, please. Here I would like to just review quickly the pre-conference program according to the type of pre-conference it is. We do have two types of pre-conferences: open pre-conferences, which are available to any delegate on a first-come, first-served basis. And then we also have what we call application-required pre-conferences. These have additional criteria to attend, which you can find out by contacting the pre-conference organizer, and they will advise you on what that criteria is. But again, do note that we have two kinds of pre-conferences: first come, first serve, our open pre-conferences, and then an application required, which has an additional step to access the meeting. Next slide, please. And we do have some, do want to point out some key guidelines as you think about pre-conferences. You can attend pre-conferences by one of two methods. If you're a full delegate to the full AIDS2016 conference, pre-conferences are free and complimentary to your full registration. You can also, if you are not attending the full conference, attend pre-conferences by purchasing a pre-conference pass through the AIDS2016 registration system. Again, delegates with a full registration or a full pre-conference weekend pass will be able to register for up to a maximum of 3 pre-conference meetings. And as mentioned before, we are offering two types of public pre-conference meetings this year: open pre-conferences and application-required pre-conferences. Registration for open pre-conferences meetings is on a first-come basis, so please register early to secure your place, as there is limited capacity and we will exceed that capacity. I'm now going to hand it over to Megan Warren to cover the conference more broadly.
So before Megan jumps in, I just wanted to clarify a question that's popped up online. So all of our webinars, including this webinar, are posted on the AIDS2016 website. So in case you need these slides later, you can access them there. Similarly, if you'd like more detail on how to register for pre-conferences, there's a webinar on AIDS2016 and on our YouTube that walks you through the process for specifically how to register for pre-conferences. So I'll hand it over to Megan.
So I will walk you through the Plenary Program. We are very excited about our Plenary Program at this year's conference. The Plenary Program will be held over 4 days, commencing Tuesday, July 19th, and the plenary speakers will speak within a theme for each day. So we'll open the conference on Tuesday with presentations looking at the state of the pandemic and response. This morning will be closed with a presentation by Justice Edward Cameron, who will speak on human rights and stigma. Beginning Wednesday, we'll review what our goals are, and Nitya Fenupak from Thailand will open that day looking at prevention equity. Thursday, we'll integrate the key barriers in the response. We'll investigate the key barriers in the response. And Deborah Persaud will speak to the obstacles in finding an HIV cure. Friday, we'll close out the week, and we'll look at where we're going and how we're going to get there. Nancy Mann from MAC-AIDS will kick off that day with a look at the business plan, and Carlos Del Rio from Mexico will give a final plenary presentation looking at what's new and what is on the road ahead. For the complete list of plenary speakers, please visit our website and click on the Program tab. So there are a lot of key dates for you to have on your radar as the conference approaches. We've identified those through mid-May and will update you as more come available. As mentioned earlier, one key date in particular to note is that our standard registration fee deadline has been extended until April 28th. Also, the deadline to register for the Living 2016 pre-conference is April 10th, and the Tours and HIV Cure pre-conference deadline is April 28th. Please note that satellite and exhibition deadlines are April 11th and May 3rd, respectively, but organizations interested in hosting one of those should contact us as soon as possible, as spaces and slots are really filling up quickly. And then lastly, the AIDS2016 program will be launched in early June. So talking about AIDS2016 registration, all registrations for the conference are done through the official conference online registration system. Before you can register, you will need to create a conference profile in the registration system. If you already have a conference profile from previous IS or AIDS conferences, you will be able to use the same login details. There are 3 registration types for the conference. If you are an individual, you can register as a regular delegate. If you are media, you can register online. However, you will be asked to submit accreditation documents to support your application to attend as a media representative. The accreditation requirements are available on the website. If you qualify as a media rep, registration is free. To register as a group, the group must consist of 5 or more people, and the group must nominate 1 representative who will administer the group booking. So this slide investigates some of the most common questions we get asked about the conference. If you have more questions about AIDS 2016, please visit our dedicated FAQ sheet, which covers a range of questions from abstract submissions to registrations to logistics and much more. One thing to note for this year, the delegates who registered at the original fee and are now entitled to a refund due to the fee change will be given a registration refund and notified directly by the registration department in the next few months. Now I'll pass it to Mandy to talk you through some communications around and at the conference.
Great. Hi, everyone. So as noted earlier, conference accessibility is a huge priority for us and for AIDS 2016 organizers. So as part of that commitment, we are leveraging our communications channels to support those efforts. This includes a newly designed conference website that you might have seen at www.AIDS2016.org with the aim to have an improved user experience so you can better locate the information that you're looking for. Additionally, we're using our web platform to highlight community voices, and what I mean by that are stories and perspectives of individuals who are working on HIV response in a variety of ways. Some of you may have already received this, but our recent AIDS 2016 email. This is a great way to stay connected if you haven't signed up already. We're using this channel to share announcements, reminders, new content leading up to the conference. Additionally, this will be how we share daily conference coverage, so I urge you to sign up. You should also know that if you are already registered for the conference or if you register for the conference, you will be automatically added to this email list, so you'll receive those regardless. But I do want to note that for those of you who are registering as a group, that if you just have one email address as listed for that group registration, only that one email address will be added to that list. So if you want to receive these emails, either make sure that if you're registered as an individual or a group, that your email address directly is included. Thirdly, I urge everyone to connect with us on social media. We're really trying to use both Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as mechanisms that allow two-way dialogue around the conference. Ask questions, comments. That is an ongoing forum that we will respond to. We are monitoring that daily, and we'll get back to you and promote conference content daily. So please connect with us. Those will be great channels to connect. And then lastly, subscribe to our YouTube channel. As Owen noted that our previous webinars are currently already up on the AIDS 2016 YouTube channel, and this one will be as well. Additionally, leading up to the conference, we'll have all our video coverage there, and during the conference, recorded sessions will be added there. So it's a great platform to be able to access conference content leading up to and during the conference. In addition to, keeping the conference keeping you abreast of all conference news, we are really excited about the recent announcement of our media partners, which is Clinical Care Options, FHI360, NAM AIDS, and The Guardian. Our media partnerships provide a strong platform for unique content delivery and engagement, both leading up to the conference and during the conference. They're going to enable delegates and audiences globally to keep up to date with the latest developments and achievements, and we're excited to be working with them. So A lot of their content will be available through the AIDS2016 platform and through our email services, but they are great channels to also be tracking on your own to connect with the conference.
So this has been a really quick snapshot of everything that's going on around AIDS 2016. I recognize you probably have a lot of questions about details on certain things we've covered. I want to stress, though, that as we move into April, that is the biggest month of conference planning for us. So we are going to be rolling out a large number of communications around what the program looks like, who high-level speakers are, opportunities in the global village. So we ask you to please stay in touch with us or reach out as you need things. April is a huge month for conference news and announcements as we lead up to July. So thank you for joining us today. We'll take some time now for questions from the group.